Welcome to the Wake and Bake Football Podcast. You can tell this is not rehearsed. This goes unedited. It's just going straight up every day.
Early in the morning.
Early in the morning. I'm Quentin. I'm a Chargers fan. This is Pete. He's a Patriots fan. For your first time watching, we dive into the NFL in general. We take deeper dives into our teams. Because we love our teams. So if you're a Chargers or a Patriots fan, it's not a bad thing to listen to if you want to keep current. And we're just going to talk about football. It's large. It's not. It's completely unscripted. We usually try to table up a few topics so we don't run dry here, but we're taking our time. So let's chill, everybody. We are working too, actually.
That's right.
Kind of.
We can. Yeah, I don't know if it's first we work and then we talk football.
I don't know if the priority is work over the football necessarily. Not so sure you can make that call on that. We'll see if my DHBC homies tune in here. Did I tell you I put that out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Finally put that out. See if the club homies want to listen to us here. I didn't get my butter and garlic ready. So the big thing here is that the Chargers 5th year options, that was due by May. I would assume that's for everyone.
Yeah, that's got to be a league.
May 1st.
A league rule.
Yeah, right after the draft here. Did Los Patriotos pick up any 5th? I don't even know if that's a word. It sounded good. My Espanol.
You're an embarrassment to San Diego.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's true. I should know how to speak Spanish better than I do. Any 5th year options on the table for the Patriots?
I don't think so.
I think I do like calling them Los Patriotos, though.
That's fine.
Doesn't bother you?
True Patriots. They are the true Patriots.
It doesn't bother you?
No. I mean, that just goes back to how bad the Patriots drafts were over the last 4 to 5 years, where they
had a pretty crappy streak going there.
They don't have first round picks staying around. Like they're lucky if their first round picks are still on the team after 4 years.
I'm not. You're like, no, there's no 5th year options. Okay, everybody shit the bed.
Yeah. So
hear that, Charger fans? I mean, I don't think we can say that. We've had a few strikeouts, but it wasn't Patriots bad for that long. Come on. Things could be worse, guys. Things could have been worse. Even under old Telesco, who I think remains jobless. I wonder if he got hired by somebody. I haven't seen that
he
shootout.
Got fired by the Raiders.
Yeah.
With their new
regime. Yeah, when
regime.
Carroll came in, they hired a new GM. Which is actually, so they fired the head coach. They didn't fire Telesco. I think they even came out publicly and were just like, yeah, Telesco's staying.
The team was defending Telesco.
Well, I mean, I think they didn't think he was bad. But I think in order to land Carroll, Carroll was like, no, I'm going to pick my guy.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
maybe he didn't necessarily, I don't think it was a matter of hating Telesco. I think it was a matter of like John Spytek being available, him liking Spytek better.
Just another reason the Chargers should fear the Raiders more and more every year.
I agree. I agree with that.
Like,
Well, and then a lot of it, I think an element had to do with Tom Brady becoming a minor owner.
Yeah, he wants a little more say
think
on
when-
all those things.
Actually, that may have been the stronger,
Yeah, that might have been the...
not necessarily even Carroll, but it was Tom Brady that was like, I want a new GM. I want to pick the GM.
Right.
I like this guy.
I want to be the behind closed doors GM.
Yeah. I mean, Tom is like the behind closed doors owner.
Everything.
And I think, Mark Davis, they've kind of, that line of questioning has been kind of attacked by reporters. And Mark Davis was like, dude, he's Tom Brady. Like, why would I not rely on his football knowledge? Of course.
And he's a part owner. It's not
That's why
like
I brought
he's
him
just-
in.
It's not just still living in...
It's one of the reasons I wanted him to become a partial owner. Was like, we've got that guy in the house.
Yeah.
Which is probably the smartest thing Mark Davis has ever said or done.
Right. Well, because he can't admit, you can't take an outside person's, like, their
Mark-
opinions of football to sway your team if they're not a part owner. So he let him be part owner so he could get his opinions and have him have some sway.
Mark Davis is like, let's be real, people. I inherited this team, okay? I'm a rich kid. I don't know anything about football. I've tried. I'm horrible at this, okay? If you can't tell, I'm horrible at this. So, I brought in Tom Brady.
I think
I'm just going to let him take the front of this, okay? And sit back.
Al Davis probably loved football, and he was a crazy owner because of it.
Yeah.
And Mike Davis, as his son, probably hates football. He's
Yeah.
like, I got football shoved down my
Exactly,
throat.
yeah,
my
like, I
whole
didn't
life.
ask
I
for
didn't
any of
actually
this,
like
man.
it, but it makes me a lot of money.
I didn't ask for any of this. I like dating the hot chicks that come with it.
Yeah.
Look at my hair.
And being super rich.
Look at my haircut, for God's sakes, people.
But Tom Brady, that guy loves football. And he's rich, so he can do some...
Tom Brady's rich, and he knows a lot about football.
So let him do it.
I'm going to let him be the, what's it? Not the surrogate. The de facto owner.
Yeah.
And when we win a Super Bowl, like, I'm going to put my hands on the Lombardi, okay?
Right.
That's when I'll take all my credit, okay? I'll be there to steal Tom Brady's credit when the time comes. I'll be there.
God, how much will you hate it when Tom Brady's on the Lombardi podium again as a Raider? Two of your most hated things in football.
Yeah, Tom Brady and the Raiders.
If he wins one as a Raider.
all on one stage. Two things I hate the most in the world. For the people at home here, I don't hate Tom Brady, the football player competitor, okay? I don't know, I do despise him.
You do kind of hate him.
Why do I hate him? Like
He's so good. You do hate the player, that he's so good.
That's not
And
why.
then he's not on your team.
No, it's not because. That's exactly why I hate him. Okay, because everybody thinks he's so good. Okay, I'm actually in the camp that thinks, pound for pound, Peyton Manning might have been the better quarterback, actual quarterback, despite not having the rings that Tom has. I don't think I can win this argument easily. Peyton Manning did not have the support that Tom Brady did. Okay? I mean, he had some decent coaches, but he didn't have Bill effing Belichick, okay? Like, and Belichick...
Dude, absolutely nothing without Tom Brady. I really wanted to be wrong on that one.
You know, I don't think Peyton Manning ever quite had the defenses to support him like the Patriots did, like Tom Brady did. I mean, you could argue the one year he did, he won a Super Bowl, which was with Denver. And that was his worst. That was like, this was Peyton Manning when like he had a noodle arm, dude. He couldn't hardly throw the ball anymore.
Yeah, but that team was stacked.
This was not glory days, Peyton Manning. So the Chargers did have a fifth-year option. For Zion Johnson, they did not pick it up. Which is kind of big news.
Yeah. Did they re-sign him? They have to release...
No.
They have to release him and then...
No, this is his last season under contract. So if they want to keep him next year, they'll have to sign him to a new contract.
Oh, because the option comes out before the fourth year.
Now, going into the season, I tried to educate a lot of the DHBC dudes about my position on the Zion Johnson thing, moving to center. And I think I don't know if Zion can become a good center. I think I'm 50-50 on that. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. He did not flourish to the level, to his draft pick level, as a left guard. He never did. But if we go into the history of it, when he was drafted, and he did take reps at the Senior Bowl as a center. So coming out in the draft, he was the top guard / center prospect. It wasn't that nobody was like, oh, he's not a center. He was a guard / center prospect. That was his label.
Okay.
But the year before, we signed Corey Linsley,
right,
who was like the top center free agent. And we handed him the bag. And he was fantastic.
Right. So they needed a guard. They didn't need a center.
They didn't need a center. So they plugged him in at center.
Well, he played guard with Lindsay.
I mean, guard. They played.
Yeah.
So they played him at guard.
And now
the spot wasn't open.
Right.
Now, when Linsley went down, which was kind of unexpected, this heart thing really did show up out of nowhere. The Chargers went into the season, and like 3 games in, Linsley, this heart condition pops up. He goes and gets it analyzed, and they're like, oh yeah, you might die if you play. You can play football, but you might die. You've been playing with this all along.
Yeah, but that's just football. You could always die. Slightly higher chance for him now.
So, Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore, they handle it the classy way, and
let him retire.
They say, let's not have you die.
Yeah.
Let's not even risk that. And they kept him around, but they had other people training to be the backup center. It was never a thing. It was more like, hey, this is our left guard. We like him at left guard. We're just going to keep playing him at left guard. But Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, one of the things these guys like to do, which is actually an aspect I love out of Jim Harbaugh, I think Jim Harbaugh really strives to look at things with fresh eyes. Like, I know he came into this thing, and this is like the left guard, and he was drafted to be a left guard in a way, but wait a second, this guy took snaps at center. We kind of need a center, don't we? If we draft a center, what is the center going to look like? He's going to look like Zion Johnson. That's what he's going to look like. That's your dream Pro Bowl center prospect. A smaller guard who's super athletic and super smart. Like, for some reason, I don't know where this comes from, if this was in the draft process or what, but everybody says Zion's very, very smart. I haven't met the man personally, so I don't know that. But I'll take their word for it. I'll take the people that, have met him. I'll take their word for it.
Right.
Everybody says he's super smart, which is one of the things you want out of a center. So, I'm saying on a traits level, if you were going to draft a player as a top shelf center, traits, which is what you're doing in the draft because you've never had him in your room, like Zion is the profile. Emphatically. He has an elite level draft profile to do it. But this guy's played in the league. This is the bonus. He's played in the league for 3-4 years. 3 years.
Yeah.
He has NFL experience. He knows what's out there. He can cut it as an NFL player. Does he cut it great as a left guard? Not necessarily. I mean, he's an upper half guard. You drafted him to be an elite guard. That's why you spend a first round pick on a guy like that. He's not elite. He is not proven elite. Although he will show flashes on any given game of like, hey, wow, that was awesome. So he has elite flashes. It's just very inconsistent. Now, Chargers had another player like this. Kenneth Murray, another first rounder that we reached to get. Linebacker.
Little linebacker.
Yeah. Supposed to be awesome. And he was a legit bust. Up until, not last season, but the season before, Staley's last season. And they put the green dot on him. And once Kenneth Murray got the green dot, not only did he continue to wear it, but he had his best season, and it wasn't close. He showed, for whatever reason, him being in charge crystallized what he was supposed to do on a given play. and he played to his potential.
Maybe
for the first time.
Maybe just hearing the defensive play call from the other linebacker, like he didn't understand it, but hearing it in his helmet and having to say it to the team, like reinforced what he was supposed to do.
I don't know.
And he's like, now I've said it twice, so now I know what I'm supposed to do.
For whatever reason, when he started calling the shots, things changed pretty dramatically. Daniel Popper feels... Actually, Daniel Popper cited a similar viewpoint, citing the exact same thing. Thinking, maybe we see this with Zion. So he's got the traits. Maybe if he's put in charge of protections, he'll get what he's supposed to do better and do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is probable, okay? That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is likely to happen.
Just hopeful.
But here you have an underwhelming guard who was drafted in the first round, and Greg Roman and Harbaugh are going, how do we salvage this?
Right.
Maybe he's not a fucking guard. Maybe he's a center. Nobody's ever tried him like that. We're going to try. And I mean, it was something that they tried as soon as the season. I think they started talking about it before the season even ended. Like, hey, dude, you're our guard this season, but next season, we want to see what you can do at center. Learn it. Figure it out. Because Bozeman, this is our old, salty old veteran, okay?
Yeah, he's not the long
We think
term.
you've got a higher ceiling than Bozeman in you. You, like I said, if you were going to draft a guy, you don't know till you stick him in there. You don't know till you know. And doing that mid-season is not the time to do it, okay? And I mean, actually the actions of this draft support this. Because they did not draft a center as much as I wanted them to. I wanted them to draft a center, okay? For the love of God.
Yeah, you want.
I was like Tate Ratledge, like Gray Zabel. I was pounding on the desk for guys like this, okay?
You wish they took Wilson that the Patriots
Draft
took
a center
in the 4th round.
Huh?
I said you wish they took Wilson that the Patriots took
Oh
in the
man,
fourth,
I mean,
in the
dude,
4th
like
round.
dude, we were talking about the centers that went undrafted.
Yeah.
They didn't even sign one of the UDFAs. None of them. So actions speak louder than words to me. If you look at it through this lens of we don't need to draft a center, we have one in-house. We have the prospect in-house. He's in our house. We own him.
You better hope.
And guess what? He's even got NFL experience. He's a draft prospect plus. Because we know him.
Yeah.
We know him really well. And he's got NFL experience. We know what he can do and how he can do it better than anyone.
So you're saying, hopefully, by not drafting a center, it means Zion is ready to do it.
And then I think,
And all signs point to he's going to.
if you're looking through this, I'm just trying to explain the frame of mind here of what I think Harbaugh and Roman, what their frame of mind is, and Ortiz as an organization. What do they go do in free agency? They go sign themselves the ex-center from the Raiders, Andre James, who had a Pro Bowl season in a gap scheme, who lost his job to a first-round draft pick. I think JPJ was taken in the first round or maybe the top of the second round. But JPJ was the top center prospect in last year's draft.
Yeah.
They stuck JPJ at guard last season to prepare him for center, and now he's taken over center.
All right.
So he lost his job. So we've got the Zion Johnson experiment. We have our draft prospect That's really what I think they look at him as. That's why they didn't draft one. And we've got a free agent. We made a free agent signing that gives us an insurance policy. This guy can play center in the NFL, has played it really well, has documented good seasons as a center, especially in the scheme that we'd use and run. Best man win.
Yeah. Good old-fashioned camp competition.
Best man win. Competitors, welcome. So, getting back to Zion Johnson's 5th year and how this all impacts this 5th year option. Because you don't know what you have, if you exercise the 5th year option and this guy's playing, and I don't know if Zion has a Pro Bowl or not. I doubt he does. I don't think he does.
No, he does not.
I don't think that necessarily says they don't love Zion. I think it's a matter of... So the way the 5th year option works is if a team exercises the 5th year option, for example, Rashawn Slater is in his 5th year. This is his 5th year currently.
Right.
That's why we want to sign him to an extension.
Yeah. He will be a free agent next year.
But because Rashawn Slater's a Pro Bowl tackle, so it depends on their usage. If he's played, like something over 70% of the snaps or something, of the plays, for a club, your first rounder, you have to pay him in that 5th year. It's kind of like a franchise tag almost. It's a place saver. But he's going to make good money.
Okay.
Rashawn Slater made $19 million this year. He made pretty close to top of the market tackle money. That's what he's going to make this year. That's his cap hit, is $19 million. It's fully guaranteed, by the way.
Fully guaranteed.
It's fully guaranteed.
It's still on the low end of being a top 3 tackle in the league.
It's not quite
of what he is. Which is what he is.
It's not going to reset the market. It does, but it's right underneath. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Tackles are making 20, 25 mil.
It's not rookie contract.
Yeah.
$8 million.
It's not a cheap one.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the Chargers sign him to an extension, which everybody expects them to, his cap hit's going to go down. Because right now it's at 19, and they still have 30 million in cap. So, but we're talking about how does that reflect upon Zion? Well, if they exercise Zion's contract, his 5th year option, they kind of have to pay him. It's an average. Now, I think all this is like, do we want to be locked into spending a certain amount of money?
Right.
Or do we just want to sign him to a contract dependent on his performance this season?
But he's not worth it to be a top paid guard.
Yeah, exactly.
We want him on our team, but
we want him on our team,
but not at.
We just don't want to lock ourselves into
Joe Tooney money.
Top shelf guard pay next season.
Right. So when you brought up Zion, there was a 5th year option for the Patriots because Zion is the same draft as Cole Strange. Similar situation.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
guard,
he was your first round pick.
Who has not lived up to first round.
Has not
talent.
quite reached his first round status.
They did not take his 5th year option.
So they didn't exercise. Yeah, so it's the same thing. It's not I don't think it's that they necessarily, especially with this whole center experiment going on. Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things. This could go really well. It could go really bad.
And I didn't know about that 70% play snap count thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Cole Strange is over that. I mean, he was injured for so much.
There's a very strong case. Zion is gonna, if he doesn't prove himself at center, I don't think it has bearing. A lot of Charger fans are trying to make this into like, well, they must not like him at center, see? And I'm like, I don't know that this says anything outside of what we already know, which was, this is an experiment with high upside.
Cole Strange was the same thing. They at the end of the season and then into the offseason, they were playing around with him at center. But then they drafted Wilson a center, so
I still think
they're clearly not gonna.
I still think the Chargers look at this as the center is Zion's job to lose to Andre James.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be what Daniel Popper's opinion is. Like the beat writers, the impression that we get from the beat writers is that Chargers aren't, I mean, it's an experiment to be sure, but they're giving him a strong, fair shake at that job. A training camp will be more telling, way more telling.
Right, when you get the camp battles.
The Chargers do, I mean, if training camp is any kind of indicator of this season's behavior, the Chargers in training camp, especially in training camp, like, they are running guys all over the formation. I mean, they are trying people out everywhere, all the time. You know, outside of like Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt now.
Right.
You know, I mean, even then, I mean, even during the season though, I think when Rashawn went down, this was interesting. When Rashawn Slater went down, they threw Joe Alt out at left tackle. And I think they had Trey Pipkins take over right tackle, which is what he used to play.
Right.
Which is smart because Joe played left tackle in college.
Yeah, and on any other team, he's the left tackle.
Yeah. If we didn't have like an elite level left tackle already, you know? Rashawn Slater's really the only guy on that line that they're just like, yeah, you don't need to flex.
Yeah.
You're good there.
Joe Alt might be a top 5 tackle in the league. He just happens to play on the same team as a top 2 tackle.
Yeah. So So Zion, yeah, I just think that was just a matter of retaining contract flexibility. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Short and skinny. And for all the Charger fans that aren't educated on the history of Zion Johnson and his particular situation with the Chargers,
Cole Strange he might not even make the team. He's, if he's healthy, you got to assume he's one of the best 8 linemen on the team, but, new coaching staff, you never know. Coaching staff is turning that roster over like crazy.
I mean, I think
they're going to have one of the higher turnover rates ever.
I mean, what's really going to be very, very, very interesting to me is if Zion doesn't win that starting center position, if Andre James ends up being the starter, again, I give Zion a 50-50 chance of winning that starting job over Andre James for the start of the season. Come start of the season, whoo, man. I mean, unless we see some crazy training camp buzz that like the Chargers are over the moon on Zion at center, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting who starts at left guard. I don't think Zion necessarily
Wants to go back to it.
I don't think the Chargers will. I don't think he just steps back in as the de facto left guard.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing.
This is very clear.
If he was one of the 5 best linemen on the team, they wouldn't be talking about a position switch. He would just be the left guard.
I don't know. I don't know that that's true necessarily. For the Chargers,
I mean,
for
not
the Chargers,
100%, but if it was a clear cut and dry situation, I think the position switch shows that there's some question marks, and the line is blurred on whether he's a top 5 on the team.
I think the only thing that will ever lock you into a given position on the Chargers O-line is if you are an elite top 3 person at your position. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, they expect you to flex. And that would be the fact with both Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, unquestioned. But these guard positions and center, we don't have that. Nobody has proven themselves to be an elite top 3 type person at that position. And up until that happens, guess what? You're going to fight for your position. That didn't happen last year because we didn't have the personnel
Right.
to challenge Zion, but this season we do. I do think Bozeman definitely wants to start still. You're a player, you want to start.
Right. I mean, you want to play.
Let's not forget, if you're an NFL player, you want to start. That's why you're playing football, okay? You're not there to ride the pine, okay? Nobody is there to ride the pine. So, I don't see Bozeman being able to compete for that starting center position, but I do see him maybe competing for starting guard, the left guard. We've got the right guard sewed up now with the Becton acquisition. That's another great example. Becton graded out as a top 5 guard last season. He was an awesome, awesome guard. So guess what? Right guard is sewed up. They're not flexing Mekhi Becton to the left guard. It's not happening. The only way to guarantee staying in a spot is by being an elite top 5 type player in that position.
Right. Well, and the better player is going to dictate, I'm not moving positions. I'm not switching sides. I'm playing over here. You guys can figure out that side.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Even, they even tackled this in the press conference. Joe Ortiz himself mentioned specifically when we signed Andre James, we spoke to him about guard and his willingness to play guard. So we do look at him as a guard as well. I mean, the shock of shocks is if Bozeman won the center position again. I would be so upset. I think I've seen his ceiling, and his ceiling is not, no.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know that, if I have to watch that again, I'm going to be really upset. It was hard to watch last season. Because, I did that film analysis which at some point I really want to do again. I still have a plan to do that. My YouTube channel on film, Chargers film analytics.
Yeah. That would be cool.
It's just going to be film breakdowns.
As soon as you get some free time.
That's all it's going to be. But when I did that, like these blown protections, again, I'm not in the room. All I can look at is what the play, it kind of looked like. All I get to see is a broken play. What we don't get to see is, okay, who was supposed to do what on this protection scheme, okay? We're not in the room. We don't know who's actually supposed to do what here.
Right.
All I see is the way they worked out and who the defender flew past. And it's like, what is that? Like, why is Bozeman standing there like this? And a guy just goes flying by. Like, or Zion. It was Zion and Bozeman
every time.
90% of the time. That combo right in there, that gap, like the communication or whatever was not happening. So whether it was Bozeman's assignment or Zion's assignment, somebody fucked up. And I don't know that I can pin it perfectly on either of them.
Drake May got an interview in the other day for the, since the draft. He is fired up. He sounded fired up last year, He's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's making the best of it. He's never going to talk shit about his team.
I think he's just like a good human.
Yeah.
He can't talk shit about anybody.
No. He knows how to be classy.
And so last year was kind of all I had ever heard of his interview. I didn't know him.
I mean, talking shit about your own line just gets you crushed on Sunday. That's what's going to happen.
Right. I mean, nobody's going to do that anyway.
You cannot attack those guys.
So all you can go by is what he said last year versus what he said this year. Both are positive statements.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it sounded more
one's going to have a lot more juice to it than the other.
So obviously he's fired up about them drafting a left tackle #1 overall after their left tackle, or with their first pick, sorry. After their left tackle play last year was down at the bottom of the league. But also he also dove into what it was like talking with Coach Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. And like I said, he was never going to talk shit about Gerard Mayo and Alex Van Pelt. But
that's not a good idea either.
And I think Van Pelt did a fantastic job developing him as a quarterback in his first year. But as far as like a play caller, as far as an offensive production kind of wizard,
there was not much wizardry.
No. And he's talking about Josh McDaniels as one of the best to ever do it. He's like obviously he coached Tom Brady, and he's been in Tom Brady's ear, and Tom Brady's been in his ear. It's and then more telling was the Mike Vrabel stuff. Him talking about Vrabel and that He's a veteran head coach at this point. He's done it. He's had success doing it, which was not the case with Gerard Mayo.
No.
So,
I mean, the combination of Vrabel, McDaniels, and the potential of Drake May is really, 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 really fantastic.
It's very exciting.
The potential there is, man, I think it's got lots of juice.
And so going into camp, the big
And with like some kind of semblance of an O-line forming now, like, come on.
right, some actual NFL caliber starters.
You know what? Continue on that, but I got a thing to throw at you.
It kind of doesn't matter who the receivers are if you get an offensive line and a quarterback. Tom Brady did it for a long time with no-name receivers, or just one.
Did the guy that you drafted played center, right?
Wilson?
Yeah.
Yes. He's pretty raw. He only started for 1 year at Georgia, but his athletic grade is super high, and he had a really good year as the starting center at Georgia.
What do you think about this? I think because you've got a guard slot open.
We do. Left guard is going to be a camp battle.
I see Bradbury starting, and your new boys they plug him in at left guard.
That's definitely getting tossed around.
Just to get him up to NFL speed. It's the same thing they did with JPJ.
Right. It comes
Raiders.
down to who are the top 5 best linemen on the team.
Yeah.
You can't have one of those guys sitting on the bench. Like,
exactly. I could see that scenario happening. It just made me think of JPJ, and I was like, wait a second. Like, they're going to start the new kid.
no, I mean, if he is that raw and he needs a year to develop, then he needs a year to develop anyway. But if he's one of the 5 best linemen, he's going to play guard.
Yeah. He may not be ready to take over as center, but guard,
Absolutely.
that's open. We got an open slot.
So that, they have a lot of offensive linemen, because they had to run through so many last year. And a lot of those guys are going to get cut and not make the team. Same thing with receivers. They have a lot of receivers. And a lot of those guys are, half of those guys are going to get cut. And it's tough, like, Kendrick Bourne was their best receiver 3 years ago. He might not make the team because, like, he's getting older, and they have all these young guys, and none of them are proven.
I mean,
So
when are we? Training camp has started, but there hasn't been any on the field stuff. That doesn't happen until OTAs, right?
right. I think they can walk through.
Are OTAs about to hit?
Yeah, well, they were doing the I don't know. The Patriots were doing the veteran OTAs because they had the new coaching staff. So they got to go early. But I don't know if the rest. Feel like after the draft, the rest of the league must do it. Must start right about now.
I think because OTAs are kind of the first thing that's open to the public that the press gets to attend,
Right.
I believe. If I'm recalling correctly.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, the Patriots have been doing it. They've been doing walkthroughs. The press has been talking about that they've had the fullback lining up in the backfield because Josh McDaniels loves himself a fullback. So, but yeah, I don't know about the Chargers or the rest of the league. Everybody who has that cemented head coach.
I was just pondering back on the Zion thing. I really do think that, in summary, that's a very good way to frame the Zion experiment, is the Chargers view Zion Johnson as their draft prospect. really is. He's their first round center draft prospect.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't draft one. Because he is that. Because he's not the guaranteed starting guard anymore. You know what I mean? He really is he's a draft prospect. That's how we should think of, if you're a Charger fan, that's how you should think of Zion now. As weird as that is, because we've gotten used to him at left guard, you know?
Right.
But that's not how the Chargers see him right now, and that's not how the Chargers are treating him. The Chargers are treating him like a first-round center draft prospect. We want you to start this year, and if you're not really fucking good at it, then I don't know. I don't know, man. You're going to have to fight for your spot on the line, that's what. Let your performance speak for you. That's what's the only thing that will guarantee you anything. OTAs. Let's see. When do OTAs kick off here?
Yes. I've always been such a homer and had such and been loyal to my team that it's hard for me to see so many guys get cut who had played major roles who I liked on the team. But this year with the new Vrabel coaching staff, they're gonna turn over the roster and probably lose like 40 to 50% of the be different 53-man roster spots.
Yeah, do they? Okay,
it's when you get a new coach, you kind of always end up with like a 30%. I think is like the average turnover because the new coach wants their guys.
There's extra turnover, yeah.
And one, the new coach wants their guys. Two, the reason you got a new coach is your team was bad.
Yeah.
Good teams don't fire their coaches.
There's going to be some house cleaning.
But this year I have to step back and remember that like those players that I was a big fan of were on four-win teams. Like a lot of them are not good enough to be starters.
I mean, that happened to the Chargers. There were players that I liked that it was just like
Yeah, you went through it 3 years ago. So.
Yeah. Who's a player that I kind of liked that they walked off from? I don't know. I don't know that I ever really was 100% in on Sebastian Joseph Day. I feel like his mouth was too big for his play.
Yeah, that's never fun to root for.
Not that I don't think he was a bad player. He just didn't. Poona Ford outperformed him substantially.
Right. But like Jalen Polk, the Patriots' second-round pick last year, I always felt like he didn't get a fair shake. The offense was so bad, and he might not make the team this year.
I agree with that.
Even though he's a second-round pick, like at this point, the only thing cementing him in there is that they spent a second-round pick, so he deserves to get a second year. But he's already he is on that cusp of not making it.
I was reading reviews about some of the Chargers draft pick because those are kind of starting to float out and all that. Kennard, the edge rusher we got, a coach, was a coach, I forget from where, but he was Judon's coach
When he was
in
on
college.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what the connection is. And he was like, Kennard's got that Judon. He was comparing Kennard like he's like, yeah, he's got a lot of Judon to him. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Not a bad comparison.
I mean, if you can be...
Despite Judon not playing very well for the Falcons, I guess that experiment didn't work out. Is Judon a free agent?
No, I think he's still on the Falcons.
But I feel like the Falcons drafted an edge.
Well, everybody drafted an edge this year.
Right? Who did not draft an edge? But, well, it was like the top edge, Walker, I think, that fell to them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, at a minimum, he'll challenge Judon. If not, they can pair him up. At least they've got a pair, which is important.
Right.
That way you can kind of spread the double team out. They're going to have to double team somebody. Somebody's going to get single. And they're going to eat. And the phone calls that the Chargers were making to players when they took Kennard, they put Kennard on the phone with Jesse Minter and the special teams coach. And they actually mentioned the special teams coach specifically, like, yeah, our special team coach loved you.
Loved you.
I mean, he knows being drafted where he is. He's not taking snaps away from Thule or Khalil Mack, you know?
Right.
Like, you better get ready for some special teams. And I think the big deal is, I mean, this is actually a really huge deal. Tuipulotu, I can't say his last name.
I don't think anybody can.
Tuipulotu. If I'm going to have a podcast, I'm going to have to get better at this.
You gotta have them come visit so that they can say their name themselves.
So for a lot of Chargers fans, Thule had this his first season, he exceeded expectations substantially. Because of Bose's injury, he got out there, he got some snaps, he did fantastic. And everybody expected last year for him to take another step forward, like a big one. But I think he took a small step forward. Not the kind of jump everybody expected. Like, everybody was ready to go out there and get their Thule jerseys. You know?
You were.
I was ready to go buy a Thule jersey, okay?
Yeah.
I was talking about it all last season, and I didn't. I still might buy one. We'll see. But he was on my short list. Like, it was one of the reasons I was hoping Khalil Mack was going to get like a 2 or 3 year extension versus a 1. Because if that happened, I was going to buy a Mac jersey, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Khalil Mack fan. Love Khalil. Man. Khalil Mack is the truth, baby.
Speaking of special teams, the Patriots released Joe Cardona, the long snapper.
Yeah, I saw that. Draft casualty, huh?
They drafted a long snapper,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Nobody drafts a long snapper, but so the writing was on the wall, obviously. But Cardona was the last Patriot to have won a Super Bowl.
The last old Patriot.
10-year vet.
Yeah.
But the new guy that they drafted his athleticism graded like 88 or something. That the athletic score.
Yeah.
And so with the new rules on punt formation, where you can't line up over the center, some teams run where the center will stay in and block. And old school Bill Belichick absolutely did that. You better believe it. But the newer play design is for the center to be a third gunner and just release as soon as he snaps the ball. And he has that advantage. Like, one, he can't get hit because they can't line up over him. And two, he knows when the play's going to start. He's snapping the ball. So his first half step is a little bit faster than the next guy over. So if you get a guy who wants to go make a tackle and is capable of doing that, that is a benefit to your special teams punt unit.
Huh. All right.
And
that's helpful.
All signs point. That guy made some big hits in college as a long snapper.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So you got a long snapper that can play some ball.
Yeah.
Not just snap the ball. He's got some plus side to him. And then the other, Dane Brugler.
The Beast.
From the Beast. He did a write-up on each of the teams and like their draft and what he thinks about their draft. He developed our second wideout, the Smith kid. He has a bunch of names. I'm pretty sure his first name was Keandre. Keandre something Smith. He thinks he was one of the steals of the draft. Like, he thinks that's the Chargers' best steal of the draft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they were saying some charts had that guy rated over Trey Harris, who we took in the second round.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he's right, because he picked the Patriots draft as his number one draft class. So
he did. The Charger, the Patriots.
So I hope he knows something.
The Patriots had the number one graded, highest draft grade.
For him.
Yeah.
His grades.
I saw that. In overall draft grades.
Yeah.
The Chargers were like 18. Which I was kind of like, really? He had the Chiefs graded above him. He had the Raiders graded above them. Now, the Raiders had a really good draft.
They did.
They had the kind of draft for the first time that gets me kind of worried. Historically, I've always laughed at the Raiders drafts because they've always been pretty horrible.
Right.
I mean, last year was maybe one of their best drafts because they got Brock Bowers. But outside of that, like, I think it was used like nothing.
I don't remember who they took. Probably wrap it up.
Yeah. Time to open this store up, man. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody. As always, like and subscribe. I don't think I asked people to do that in the beginning.
It's okay.
I need to get better at that. We'll see you next time. Monday.
See you Monday.